Reason number one why you need Jesus is because he can save your life. Hi, I'm Mike the Magi. Welcome to the channel and the first video in a 4-video series where we talk about why you need Jesus. Now, before we get into what exactly he's saving your life from, I'd like to talk about something that a lot of Christians and a lot of people in general seem to misunderstand about the nature of Jesus. That is, the nature of God. Now, when you think about God, what image comes to mind? A lot of people think of him as a judge. You know, somebody standing on a throne in heaven, wielding his gavel, and passing sentence on people for the bad things that they do. And if that is your view of God, I'd like to address that really quickly and reassure you that God does not punish you for the bad things you do. Now, I know there may be some Christians watching this and they may be, going, what is this boy talking about? Hang on a minute, stay with me. I'm not saying there are not consequences to your actions. People misunderstand consequences as well. It doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. Technically, it just means an outcome, a result, an unbiased sum of an equation that is your decision making, right? It's like this. I decide not to eat, therefore I am hungry. Nobody made that happen except me. No one's passing that on me. No one is saying, okay, you are gonna be hungry now because of that thing you did. It just is. It happened. I decided something freely, and the outcome of that freely happens. But what about people who do way worse things than just choosing not to eat, thereby going hungry? What about somebody who lies, cheats, steals, abuses another person? Shouldn't they be punished? Shouldn't God punish that person? Good question. I mean, we certainly think so. We, the royal we, society, we create and pass laws. We have judges, juries, a penal system. We punish people for breaking the laws that we, society, sets in place. That's how we work. But that's not how God works. Now, I know what some of you are probably thinking because I've heard it before. I've had this conversation with people when I share my faith with them and I tell them, you need Jesus. And they say, why? And I say, because he can save you and he forgives you for every bad thing you've ever done. And they say to me, I haven't done anything wrong. I'm a good person. And maybe you are, and maybe they are. According to who? According to Canada's laws, the laws I mentioned earlier that we put in place, maybe you haven't broken any of them, and, kudos, that's great. Or maybe you're a great observer of social laws. Maybe you're very popular, you have a lot of friends, and nobody can say a bad word about you. You ask anybody who knows you, and they all say that is a great person. And maybe you are a good person according to all of their laws. But then there's another set of laws, and they're God's laws. You may have heard of them. There's 10 commandments, Moses. Anyway, the most important one, according to Jesus himself, is love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And while you may be following all the other 9 commandments, some of which you're probably familiar with, because they line up with the laws that we have in our own world, like don't kill anybody, don't steal anything, don't commit adultery, things like that. Even loving your neighbor as yourself, non-Christians can certainly be following that just by being generally good people. But at some point, everybody in this world is in violation of the first and greatest of God's laws, loving God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. If you're in violation of this rule or of any of those 10, then you're in a state of being we call sin. And this is the sticky bit, because sin is often misunderstood as the bad thing you do. And it is, but it's not just that. Sin, more importantly than any bad thing you could do, is the state of being that bad thing puts you in. All right? So it's not as if stealing something from the store is the sin. Stealing something from the store is a violation of one of God's 10 laws, which then separates you from Him. And that separation is sin. Committing morally wrong acts deserving of punishment can put you in that place, but so can not loving and having a relationship with God, which is exactly the definition of sin, not having a relationship with God. And God doesn't put us there. We freely choose whether or not we have a relationship with Him, and so we freely choose to be on our own or with Him. It just is. It's a result of the decisions we make, and it breaks God's heart to see us walk away from Him. He doesn't punish us for it. He gives us the opportunity to choose because He loves us so much, and because He knows that love and a loving relationship requires choice. If He forced us, then it wouldn't be love, would it? He desperately wants you to want to know Him. I mean, He knows you better than you ever could. He made you with His own 2 hands. He loves you. So don't fear God's punishment, because it's not coming. Don't be afraid that He's going to strike you down or smite you with a lightning bolt. That's not how God works. He forgives you. He loves you. He sent His Son to die for you so that you could have a relationship with Him. And you can choose to or not. It's entirely up to you. But choosing otherwise has some very unsettling conclusions. And we're going to touch on that in the next video in this 4-part series. But thank you so much for watching. Be sure to smash the like button and click the subscribe button and the bell icon for updates on future content. I'm Mike the Magi. Thank you for watching. See you next time.